Commander Veltar stood on the bridge of his ship, watching the stars through the wide window. His blue skin looked pale in the dim light. The Zephyrian had been a soldier for 20 years, but today he felt older than his 45 years. "Sir, we have the latest reports from the outer colonies," said his aide, Lieutenant Kexra. Her voice was quiet, almost a whisper. Veltar turned to face her. "How bad is it?" "The Korthic Empire has taken 3 more systems. They destroyed the colony. On Nexus Prime, completely. No survivors." Veltar closed his eyes. The Korthic Empire had been moving through their part of the galaxy like a plague. They took what they wanted and destroyed everything else. 12 star systems had fallen to them in the past year. Each time, the story was the same. The Korthic would arrive with their massive black ships, demand surrender, and then attack anyway. "What about our fleet?" Veltar asked. "We have 30 ships ready for battle. The Korthic have at least 60, maybe more. Their ships are bigger than ours, and their weapons are stronger." Veltar walked to the star map in the center of the bridge. Red dots marked the systems the Korthic had conquered. Yellow dots showed the 3 systems of the Zephyrian Confederation. The red dots were moving closer to the yellow ones. "They will be here in 2 weeks," he said. "Yes, sir. Our scouts confirm it. The Korthic main fleet is moving toward our space." Veltar stared at the map. The Zephyrian Confederation was not a military power. They were explorers, traders, and scientists. Their ships were built for research and transport, not war. When the Korthic threat first appeared, they had tried to upgrade their weapons, but it was too little, too late. "Sir," said another officer from across the bridge, "we have tried to contact the Galactic Council again. They say they cannot help us." Veltar was not surprised. The Galactic Council was made up of old species who had been in space for thousands of years. They moved slowly and argued about everything. By the time they decided to help, the Zephyrians would be extinct. "What about the other nearby systems?" Veltar asked. "The Vorthan Republic is too far away. The Centauri Alliance is dealing with their own problems. The Rigel Collective has already signed a peace treaty with the Korthic." Veltar felt a cold feeling in his stomach. The Rigel Collective had been their allies for 50 years. If they were making deals with the Korthic, things were worse than he thought. "Sir, there might be one option," said Science Officer Nixva. She was young, only 23, but she was brilliant. "I have been looking through the old exploration records." "What kind of records?" "From 200 years ago. The early exploration ships that went to the far edges of known space. They found traces of other civilizations, species that the Galactic Council never contacted." Veltar walked over to her station. "Show me." Nixva brought up files on her screen. Most of these species were primitive or extinct, but there is one that might be different. The exploration ship Wanderer made contact with a species called humans from a system they called Sol 3. What did they find? The report is strange. The humans were not advanced in technology. They had barely reached their own moon. But the exploration team noted something unusual about them. "What?" "They said the humans had remarkable adaptability and unusual problem-solving capabilities. They also noted that the humans seemed to be very good at warfare, even against each other." Veltar frowned. That was 200 years ago. If they were primitive then, they are probably still primitive now. "Maybe, sir. But what if they are not? What if they developed faster than expected? The report said they learned very quickly. Even if they are advanced now, why would they help us? They do not know us." Nixva looked at her screen again. The exploration team noted that humans seemed to value something they called justice. They did not like bullies or those who hurt innocent people. Veltar thought about this. It was a desperate idea. They had no proof that these humans were advanced enough to help. They had no proof that they were even still alive. But they had no other choices. Where is this sol system? It is far, sir. At the edge of what used to be explored space. Our fastest ship could reach it in 3 days. And sending a message? 2 days, if we use the quantum relay network. Veltar looked around the bridge. His officers were all watching him. They knew what he was thinking. It was their only hope, no matter how small. What would we say to them? He asked. The truth, sir. That we are about to be destroyed, and we need help. Veltar nodded slowly. Prepare the message. Keep it simple. Tell them we face extinction, and any aid would be appreciated. Include our coordinates. Sir, what if they cannot help us? Then we will die fighting, as we planned. But if there is even a small chance they can help, we must try. Nixva worked at her station. Message prepared. Sir, send it. The message traveled through space at the speed of light, jumping from relay to relay. It was simple and desperate. The Zephyrians did not know they were about to change the galaxy forever. 2 days later, as the Korthic fleet moved closer to their space, Veltar stood on his bridge again. He did not know if the message had reached the humans. He did not know if they would respond. He did not know if they could help, but for the first time in weeks, he had hope. Lieutenant Kate Morrison was drinking her 3rd cup of coffee when the alarm sounded. She had been on duty at the Deep Space Monitoring Station for 8 hours, and nothing interesting had happened. Most days were like this. She watched the screens, logged the data, and waited for her shift to end. But today was different. Kate, come look at this, called Sergeant Ben Davis from his station. We have got something weird. Kate walked over to his screen. She was 26 years old and had been monitoring deep space communications for 2 years. She had seen many strange signals, but most were just natural phenomena or old satellites. What is it? It is a message from way out there. Ben pointed at the screen. The signal is weak, but it is definitely artificial. Someone is trying to talk to us. Kate looked at the data. The message had come from a system that was not in their star charts. It was far away, at the edge of known space. Can you decode it? Already did. It is in a basic mathematical language. Pretty smart, actually. Look at this. The message appeared on the screen in English. Kate read it twice to make sure she understood. We face extinction. Any aid would be appreciated. Coordinates attached. That is it? Kate asked. That is it. Short and to the point. Kate stared at the message. In her 2 years of monitoring, she had never received anything like this. We need to report this immediately. Already done. Admiral Sullivan wants to see us in 30 minutes. Kate had never met Admiral Jack Sullivan, but everyone in the Terran Federation knew his name. He was the commander of the Sol Defense Fleet and one of the most respected military leaders in human space. 30 minutes later, Kate stood in a conference room in the Luna Military Command Center. Admiral Sullivan was there, along with General Lisa Hayes and Director of Colonial Defense Sam Parker. Kate felt nervous being in the same room with such important people. Lieutenant Morrison, Admiral Sullivan said, tell me about this message. Kate explained everything she knew, the signal, the location, the simple plea for help. Admiral Sullivan listened carefully, asking questions about the signal strength and the mathematical language used. What do we know about this system? He asked. Nothing, sir, Kate replied. It is not in our exploration records. Our ships have never been there. Director Parker leaned forward. Could this be a trap? Some kind of ambush? It is possible, Admiral Sullivan said, but I do not think so. The message is too simple, too desperate. If someone wanted to trap us, they would be more clever about it. General Hayes spoke up. Sir, even if this is real, is it our problem? We do not know these people. They could be criminals or pirates. Admiral Sullivan was quiet for a moment. Kate watched his face. She could see him thinking, weighing options. General, how long has it been since we fought a real war? He asked. 15 years, sir. Not since the Titan Rebellion. And how many ships do we have in the Sol Defense Fleet? 843, sir. And in the entire Terran Federation? Over 3,000, sir. Admiral Sullivan nodded. We have the largest military force in human history. We have weapons that can destroy planets. We have soldiers who have trained their entire lives for war. And we have been sitting here for 15 years, hoping someone would give us a reason to use it all. Kate understood what he was thinking. Humanity had spread across 47 star systems in the past 2 centuries. They had built a massive military force, but they had not fought a major war in years. The soldiers were restless. The ships were ready. Sir, Director Parker said, we do not know what we would be getting into. This could be a conflict between 2 alien species. It might not be our concern. Parker, let me ask you something. Admiral Sullivan said, what is the first rule of human diplomacy? I am not sure, sir. We do not negotiate with bullies. We do not ignore cries for help. And we do not let innocent people die when we can stop it. Admiral Sullivan stood up and walked to the window. Outside, Kate could see the docks where the fleet was stationed. Hundreds of ships floated in space, their lights twinkling like stars. Lieutenant Morrison, he said, how long would it take to get a response back to these people? 2 days, sir. Same as the original message. And how long to get a fleet there? With our fastest ships, about a week, sir. Admiral Sullivan turned back to the group. Here is what we are going to do. We are going to send the largest fleet in human history to help these people. We are going to find out who is threatening them, and we are going to stop it. Sir, General Hayes said, how many ships are we talking about? 200 ships, including the Defiance, the Vengeance, and the Retribution. We are going to send a message that humanity does not ignore cries for help. Kate felt a chill run down her spine. The UTS Defiance was the largest carrier in the fleet. The UTS Vengeance was the newest battleship, equipped with weapons that had never been tested in real combat. The UTS Retribution was a dreadnought that could level a city from orbit. Sir, Director Parker said, what if these aliens see our fleet as an invasion force? Then we will explain that we are there to help. But Parker, let me be clear about something. We are not going there to negotiate. We are not going there to observe. We are going there to end whatever threat these people are facing. Admiral Sullivan looked at each person in the room. I want the fleet ready to leave in 48 hours. I want our best captains, our best soldiers, and our best equipment. If someone out there thinks they can commit genocide while we sit and watch, they are about to learn why that is a bad idea. Kate left the meeting feeling excited and scared at the same time. She had never seen a military operation this large. In 48 hours, 200 of humanity's most powerful warships would leave for a system they had never heard of, to help people they had never met. As she walked back to her station, Kate thought about the simple message that had started it all. We face extinction. Any aid would be appreciated. These unknown aliens had asked for help. They were about to get more help than they could possibly imagine. Commander Veltar was reviewing defense plans when the alarm started screaming. He had been expecting the Korthic fleet to arrive, but they were still supposed to be days away. Sir, we have multiple contacts dropping out of hyperspace. His sensor officer called out. Massive energy signatures. This is not the Korthic fleet. Veltar rushed to the main display. What he saw made his blood run cold. Ships were appearing in space around his system. Dozens of them, then hundreds. They were unlike anything he had ever seen before. "How many?" he asked. "Still counting, sir." "At least 200 ships. The largest one is massive. It is bigger than anything in our databases." Veltar stared at the screen. The ships were sleek and deadly looking. They moved with precision that spoke of advanced technology and military discipline. This was not a rescue mission. This looked like an invasion. "Sir, we are receiving a transmission. Put it through." The main screen changed to show a human face. The being had pale skin, short brown hair, and wore a blue uniform. His eyes were calm but alert. "This is Captain Ryan Blake of the UTS Defiance. We received your distress call. We are here to help." Veltar felt confused. These were the humans? The primitive species from the old exploration records? The massive fleet in his system suggested otherwise. "This is Commander Veltar of the Zephyrian Defense Fleet. We ... We sent a message asking for aid. We did not expect ... this." Captain Blake looked puzzled. "You sent a distress signal saying you faced extinction. We came to help. What did you expect?" "We expected maybe some advisors, perhaps some technology. We did not expect an invasion fleet." "Invasion fleet?" Captain Blake's expression changed. "Commander, we are not here to invade. We are here to help you against whatever threat you are facing." Veltar looked at his officers. They all seemed as confused as he was. On the screen, he could see hundreds of human ships. Each one was larger and more advanced than his most powerful vessel. "Captain Blake, forgive me, but your fleet is larger than our entire military. We asked for help, not conquest." "Commander, we do not conquer people who ask for help. We protect them." "What exactly is the threat you are facing?" "The Korthic Empire. They have destroyed 12 systems and are coming for us next." Captain Blake nodded. "How many ships do they have?" "About 60 heavy cruisers and their flagship. They are very powerful." There was a pause. Captain Blake seemed to be talking to someone off-screen. Then he looked back at Veltar. "Commander, we will need to work together on this. Can you send a representative to my ship? We need to coordinate our response." Veltar was still trying to process what was happening. These humans had brought a fleet that could destroy entire star systems. They claimed they were here to help, but how could he trust them? "Sir," whispered his aide, "what if they are telling the truth? What if they really are here to help?" Veltar thought about it. The humans could have attacked already if they wanted. 2. Instead, they were asking for cooperation. "I will come personally," he said to Captain Blake. 2 hours later, Veltar stood in the hangar bay of the UT's Defiance. The ship was enormous. His entire vessel could fit inside this hangar with room to spare. Human soldiers stood at attention, their weapons and armor more advanced than anything in Zephyrian military. Captain Blake met him at the airlock. He was tall, about 2 meters, with a firm handshake and direct eyes. "Commander Veltar, welcome aboard. I apologize for the confusion earlier. We may have misunderstood your situation." "Captain Blake, I must ask, what are you?" "The exploration records said humans were primitive 200 years ago." Blake smiled. "We were, but we learned fast. Very fast. In 200 years, we went from barely reaching our moon to controlling 47 star systems." Veltar felt dizzy. 47 systems? Yes. The Terran Federation spans a significant portion of this galaxy. We have over 3,000 warships and colonies on hundreds of worlds. But the old records said you are not advanced. We were not. But humans have one advantage over most species. We adapt quickly, and we are very good at war. We have been fighting each other for thousands of years. When we reached space, we brought that experience with us. Blake led him to a conference room where other humans waited. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the ship's xenobiologist, was working on translation protocols. Admiral Sullivan appeared on a screen from another ship. "Commander Veltar," Admiral Sullivan said, "we need to understand your situation clearly. Tell us about the Korthic Empire." Veltar explained everything: the Korthic expansion, the destroyed worlds, the approaching fleet. As he spoke, he could see the humans' expressions change. They were not just interested, they were angry. "They destroy entire colonies?" Dr. Rodriguez asked. "Yes, they take what they want and kill everyone else. They do not take prisoners." Admiral Sullivan leaned forward on the screen. "Commander, we need you to understand something. Humanity has rules about war. We do not kill civilians. We do not destroy entire populations. When we encounter species that do these things, we stop them." "But you do not even know us," Veltar said. "Why would you risk your lives for strangers?" Captain Blake answered, "Because it is right. Because someone has to stop bullies. Because we can." Veltar looked around the room at these humans. They were calm, confident, and determined. He was beginning to understand that he had made a terrible mistake. He had asked for help from what he thought was a small, primitive species. Instead, he had contacted the most powerful military force in the galaxy. "Captain Blake, what happens now?" "Now we wait for the Korthic to arrive. When they do, we will give them one chance to leave peacefully. If they refuse, we will remove them." "Remove them?" "Commander, your distress call reached us 2 days ago. In that time, we assembled 200 of our most advanced warships and traveled across the galaxy to help you. We did not come here to negotiate. We came here to end this threat." Veltar realized that the galaxy was about to change forever. The Korthic Empire, which had seemed unstoppable, was about to meet humanity. And humanity was nothing like what anyone had expected. "Captain Blake," he said quietly, "I think we may have made a very big mistake." "What kind of mistake?" "We thought we were asking for help. I think we may have started a war." Blake smiled, but it was not a kind smile. "Commander, the war started when the Korthic began destroying innocent worlds. We are just here to finish it." Admiral Thrakon stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Destroyer of Worlds. The massive ship was over 2 kilometers long and armed with weapons that could level continents. Behind him, 60 heavy cruisers moved in perfect formation. This was the largest fleet the Korthic Empire had ever assembled. "Sir, we are approaching the Zephyrian system," reported his navigation officer. "Excellent. Are the Zephyrians ready to surrender?" "Unknown, sir. Our scouts report unusual activity in the system." Thrakon turned to face the officer. He was a large being, even for a Korthic. His gray skin was covered in battle scars, and his red eyes had seen the destruction of dozens of worlds. "What kind of activity?" "There are unknown ships in the system, many of them. Our scouts estimate at least 200 vessels." Thrakon laughed. "The Zephyrians found allies?" "It does not matter. We will destroy them all." The Korthic had built their empire on fear and superior technology. Their ships were larger and more powerful than anything they had encountered. No one had ever defeated them in battle. "Sir, dropping out of hyperspace now." The Korthic fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Zephyrian system. Thrakon looked at the tactical display and stopped laughing. "What is this?" The display showed hundreds of ships arranged in a perfect defensive formation. They were not Zephyrian ships. These vessels were sleek, advanced, and clearly military. They moved with a precision that spoke of superior training and technology. "Sir, we are receiving a transmission. Put it through." The screen showed a human face. Admiral Sullivan wore a blue uniform and had cold, calculating eyes. "This is Admiral Sullivan of the Terran Federation. You are in violation of Interstellar. Law. You will leave this system immediately or face the consequences. Thrakon stared at the screen. Who are you? What is this Terran Federation? We are the people who are going to stop you. You have 30 seconds to begin withdrawing your forces. You dare threaten the Korthic Empire? We have conquered 12 systems. We have destroyed entire worlds. Who are you to stand against us? Admiral Sullivan's expression did not change. We are humanity, and you have 15 seconds left. Thrakon felt anger building in his chest. The Korthic had never been challenged like this. They were the strongest force in the galaxy. These unknown aliens were either very brave or very stupid. All ships, prepare for battle. We will show these fools what happens to those who oppose the Korthic Empire. Sir, are you sure? Their fleet is much larger than ours. Size means nothing if their ships are weak. Open fire. The Korthic fleet opened fire with everything they had. Massive energy beams and plasma missiles streaked across space toward the human fleet. It was enough firepower to destroy a small moon. The human ships did not even try to dodge. They simply raised their shields and absorbed the attack. The energy weapons that had destroyed entire fleets barely scratched their defensive fields. Impossible. Thrakon whispered Dot, and the humans fired back. The return fire was precise and devastating. Human weapons tore through Korthic shields like paper. Ship after ship exploded in brilliant flashes of light. In the first minute of battle, the Korthic lost 15 cruisers. Sir, our shields are failing. Their weapons are too powerful. All ships evasive maneuvers. Focus fire on their flagship. The remaining Korthic ships turned their weapons on the UTS Defiance. The massive carrier absorbed the attack and kept fighting. Smaller human ships moved to protect it, their weapons firing with deadly accuracy. Captain Blake stood on the bridge of the Defiance, watching the battle. Status report? All systems operating normally, sir. Minor damage to the outer hull. Korthic weapons are not penetrating our shields. What about our weapons? Direct hits on 37 enemy ships. 22 destroyed, 15 disabled. Blake nodded. The battle was going exactly as planned. The Korthic were brave, but their technology was decades behind human military science. Sir, the enemy flagship is trying to ram us. Blake looked at the tactical display. The destroyer of worlds was moving at full speed toward the Defiance. It was a desperate move. All batteries target their engines. Disable them. Human weapons focused on the Korthic flagship. The massive ship shuddered as its engines exploded. It drifted helplessly in space, its weapons still firing, but unable to maneuver. Sir, we are receiving a transmission from the Korthic flagship. Put it through. Admiral Thrakon appeared on the screen. His bridge was filled with smoke and sparks. Half his crew was dead or injured. What are you? He asked. We are the people who protect the innocent, Blake replied. Surrender now, and your remaining crew will be treated according to the rules of war. The Korthic do not surrender. Then the Korthic will die. The battle continued for another 10 minutes. When it ended, the Korthic fleet was destroyed. Only the flagship remained. Drifting in space with no weapons or engines, that Major Alex Turner led the marine assault on the destroyer of worlds. His team moved through the ship's corridors, their advanced armor protecting them from the few remaining Korthic weapons. The Korthic warriors were large and fierce, but they had never faced humans in combat. Human soldiers were faster, smarter, and more adaptable. They used tactics that the Korthic could not understand. Surrender, Turner called out to a group of Korthic soldiers. You are defeated. The Korthic leader snarled. We fight to the death. No, you do not, Turner said calmly. You fight until you realize you cannot win. Then you surrender, and we treat you with respect. That is how civilized beings behave. The Korthic soldiers looked at each other. They had been taught that surrender was weakness. But they had also seen their entire fleet destroyed in minutes by these strange aliens. One by one, they lowered their weapons. Admiral Thraken was brought to the bridge of the Defiance in restraints. He stood before Captain Blake, his red eyes filled with confusion and fear. "How?" he asked. "How did you defeat us so easily?" "You made a mistake," Blake replied. "You assumed that because you were the strongest force you had encountered, you were the strongest force in the galaxy. You were wrong. What happens now? Now you have a choice. You can continue trying to conquer innocent worlds, and we will destroy you completely. Or you can surrender, and we will help you find a better way to live." Thraken looked around the bridge. The human technology was far beyond anything he had ever seen. These people had defeated his entire fleet without losing a single ship. "If we surrender, what happens to the Korthic Empire? It ends. But the Korthic people can have a new beginning. We will help you build a better society, one that does not depend on conquering others." Thrakon was quiet for a long moment. The Korthic had built their identity on being the strongest. Now they had met someone stronger. "I surrender," he said. Finally, the Korthic Empire surrenders. Blake nodded. "Major Turner, escort the Admiral to quarters. He will be treated as a prisoner of war, with full rights and protections." As Thrakon was led away, Blake turned to his communications officer. "Send a message to all Korthic forces. Tell them their fleet is defeated and their admiral has surrendered. Any ship that continues to attack civilian targets will be destroyed." The battle was over. The Korthic Empire, which had seemed unstoppable, had been defeated in 14 minutes. The galaxy would never be the same. 3 days after the battle, Commander Veltar stood in the observation deck of the UTS Defiance. Through the massive windows, he could see the remains of the Korthic fleet. Salvage ships were collecting the wreckage, while medical vessels helped. "Survivors. Commander," a voice said behind him. Veltar turned to see Admiral Sullivan approaching. The human leader looked tired but satisfied. "Admiral Sullivan, I wanted to thank you again for what you have done." "No need to thank us, Commander. We did what was right." Veltar shook his head. "I still cannot believe it. The Korthic Empire destroyed in minutes. We thought they were unstoppable. They were never unstoppable. They were just the strongest force you had encountered. The galaxy is full of surprises." Admiral Sullivan joined him at the window. "Commander, I need to ask you something. In your message, you called us primitive. Your old records said we were not advanced. Why did you think we could help?" Veltar felt embarrassed. "We were desperate. We had no other options. The exploration records mentioned that humans were adaptable and good at solving problems. We hoped maybe you had developed some new technology we could use. What did you expect us to send? Maybe a few advisors? Perhaps some scientists? We never imagined you would send an entire fleet." Admiral Sullivan smiled. "Commander, humans do not send advisors to extinction events. We send everything we have." "But why? You did not know us. We were strangers." "Because it was the right thing to do. Because someone had to stop the Korthic. Because we could." Veltar looked out at the human fleet. Even now, after the battle, it was the most impressive sight he had ever seen. Hundreds of ships, each one more advanced than anything in Zephyrian technology. "Admiral, what happens now? What happens to the galaxy?" "That depends on what other species do. The Korthic threat is ended, but there are always new challenges. Will you stay? Will you help protect other worlds?" Admiral Sullivan was quiet for a moment. "Commander, let me tell you something about humans. We have been fighting wars for thousands of years. We know how to stop threats, but we also know how to build peace. We will help, but we will not rule. What do you mean? We will establish defense agreements with peaceful species. We will patrol trade routes and protect colonies. But we will not conquer or control. That is not who we are. Veltar nodded. And the Korthik? What will happen to them? They will be given a choice. They can continue to be warriors, but they will fight for peace instead of conquest. Or they can choose a different path entirely. Some will join our military. Others will become explorers, scientists, or traders. You would trust them? People can change, Commander. The Korthik built their empire on strength and fear. We will show them that true strength comes from protecting others, not conquering them. Just then, Captain Blake approached them. Admiral, we have received responses from 17 different star systems. They all want to know more about the Terran Federation. What kind of responses? Most are asking for defense agreements. Some want to join the Federation. 3 systems are asking for help with their own problems. Admiral Sullivan nodded. What kind of problems? Pirates in the Vega system, a plague on Rigel 4, and something called the Void Raiders near the Galactic Rim. The Void Raiders? Veltar asked. We have heard rumors about them. They are supposed to be even worse than the Korthik. Well, Admiral Sullivan said, I guess we will find out. Captain Blake smiled. Sir, I have to admit, it feels good to have a purpose again. The fleet has been sitting idle for too long. Blake, we are not conquerors. We are protectors. There is a difference, yes, sir. But the galaxy seems to have a lot of people who need protecting. Dr. Elena Rodriguez joined them at the window. Gentlemen, I have been working on the communications protocols. We are now in contact with over 50 different species. Word is spreading fast about what happened here. What are they saying? Veltar asked. Most are amazed. Some are frightened. A few are angry that we interfered. But the majority are hopeful. They see us as the first real challenge to the aggressive empires that have been terrorizing this part of the galaxy. Admiral Sullivan looked thoughtful. Dr. Rodriguez, what is your assessment of the galactic situation? There are at least 6 major aggressive powers operating in different sectors. The Korthik were just one of them. There are also dozens of smaller threats, like pirate fleets and slave traders. And then there are the peaceful species who are caught in the middle. So we have our work cut out for us. Yes, sir. But I think we are ready for it. Veltar listened to this conversation with growing amazement. These humans were talking about reshaping the entire galaxy. They spoke of it as if it were a normal day's work. Admiral Sullivan, he said, how many humans are there in the Federation? About 12 billion across 47 systems. And how many soldiers? Active military? About 50 million. But every human citizen receives basic military training. In a crisis, we could field over 1 billion soldiers. Veltar felt dizzy. The numbers were beyond anything he could imagine. The entire Zephyrian military had only 50,000 soldiers. Commander, Admiral Sullivan said, I know this is overwhelming. But remember, we did not come here to conquer. We came to help. That will not change. What will change is that the galaxy now knows humanity exists, Captain Blake added. And they know what we are capable of. 2 weeks later, Commander Veltar sat in his office on the Zephyrian homeworld. Reports covered his desk. Messages from across the galaxy told the same story everywhere. The Korthik Empire was surrendering system by system. Their remaining fleets were either joining the Terran Federation or disbanding completely. His aide, Lieutenant Kexra, brought him another report. Sir, we have confirmation. The last Korthik stronghold has surrendered. The Empire is completely dissolved. What about their territories? The humans are helping establish local governments. They are not claiming any of the conquered worlds for themselves. Veltar shook his head in amazement. Any other species would have taken those systems for their own empire. There is more, sir. We have received an official invitation to join the Terran Federation as an associate member. What does that mean? We would keep our own government and military, but we would have access to human technology and protection. In return, we would help patrol our local systems and assist with humanitarian missions. Veltar thought about it. A month ago, his people were facing extinction. Now they were being invited to join the most powerful alliance in the galaxy. What about the other species in our region? Most are accepting similar agreements. The humans seem more interested in having allies than subjects. Just then, his communications officer called. Sir, we have an incoming message from Earth. Is Admiral Sullivan? Put it through. Admiral Sullivan appeared on the screen. He was sitting at an office on Earth, with blue skies visible through a window behind him. Commander Veltar, I hope you are well. Very well, Admiral. Thanks to you and your people. I am calling with news. We have received intelligence about 3 other aggressive empires operating in distant sectors. We are preparing expeditionary forces to deal with them. How can we help? We would like the Zephyrians to serve as our diplomatic representatives. Your people are respected for your honesty and fairness. We need species like yours to help us build lasting peace. Veltar felt honored. We would be proud to help. There is something else. We are establishing the Galactic Defense Initiative. It will be a joint military force made up of volunteers from all member species. The purpose is to protect innocent worlds and stop aggressive empires before they can cause suffering. You want us to help you fight? Only if you choose to. But Commander, I think your people understand better than most what it means to face extinction. That experience makes you valuable allies in protecting others. After the call ended, Veltar walked to his window. He could see construction crews working on new buildings. The city was growing again. People felt safe enough to plan. For the future, his personal communicator buzzed. It was a message from Captain Blake. Commander, we are departing for the Andromeda sector tomorrow. Intelligence reports suggest the Shadow Collective is planning to attack the Centauri colonies. Thought you would want to know. Veltar smiled as he typed his response. Good hunting, Captain. Give them our regards. 6 months after sending their desperate message into space, the Zephyrians watched as human ships patrolled their system. But these were not conquerors or occupiers. They were protectors and allies. The galaxy was changing. The age of aggressive empires was ending. Species that had lived in fear for centuries were beginning to hope again. And it had all started with a simple message. We face extinction. Any aid would be appreciated. The Zephyrians had thought they were asking for help. They had no idea they were summoning the galaxy's new guardians, in the depths of space. Human ships carried a new message to every corner of the galaxy. Earth remembers its friends. Earth protects its allies. Earth shows no mercy to those who threaten the innocent. The age of humanity had begun.